In the ever-evolving world of digital productivity, Apple has long danced on the boundary between tablet convenience and laptop-grade capability. With iPadOS 26, that line may finally dissolve. More than just a software update, this version redefines what the iPad can be both for casual users and demanding professionals. If iPadOS 18 planted the seeds of change, version 26 waters the soil and delivers full bloom. This comprehensive guide delves deep into how Apple's latest OS breathes new life into its iPads, transforming them into tools that rival full-blown laptops in functionality and even flirt with replacing the MacBook. Whether you're a creative professional, student, or tech enthusiast, iPadOS 26 promises to reshape how you view mobile productivity. A new beginning. Reimagine setup experience from the very first tap during the setup process. iPadOS 26 signals a new era. Apple has completely revamped the initial configuration sequence, no longer treating the iPad like a toy for casual use, but rather as a customizable, high-functioning workstation. Unlike previous OS versions that pigeonholed users into a fixed UI with minimal input, version 26 introduces a modular setup system. You can now decide how windowed apps behave, fine-tune your gesture preferences, and even specify multitasking parameters before reaching the home screen. Whether you own a 10th-gen iPad or the latest iPad Pro, this new onboarding flow gives users control in a way that mirrors desktop operating systems. It's the kind of thoughtful polish that power users have long requested, and Apple, for once, has listened. Subtle but significant. The refined visual identity on the surface. iPadOS 26 might appear visually similar to its predecessor, but a closer look reveals a series of intentional and calculated aesthetic refinements. The design language has been subtly modernized, with a new layered interface that plays with translucency and blur, what some might call a liquid glass aesthetic. Control Center, notification panels, and system overlays now appear more integrated and dynamic. The visual cohesion is felt most clearly on the iPad Pro's nano-texture display, where the new UI elements look like they're part of the hardware itself. Every icon, animation, and transition has been optimized for smoothness and responsiveness, creating a tactile experience that feels almost alive. Cursor Control 2.0, from toy to tool 1. The more surprising stars of iPadOS 26 is the revamped pointer system. What once felt like a gimmick, complete with a bubbly, shape-shifting cursor, has evolved into a professional-grade tool. Apple has introduced a more precise, minimalistic cursor designed for actual work rather than visual flair. Highlighting text, resizing windows, selecting UI elements, editing documents is now as fluid as using a MacBook trackpad. This change fundamentally improves workflows for anyone using a keyboard and mouse with their iPad. It's no exaggeration to say that the new cursor makes the iPad feel more like a Mac than ever before. The menu bar arrives, bridging iPad and macOS, possibly the most desktop-inspired feature in iPadOS 26 is the long-awaited menu bar, residing at the top of apps like Files, Calendar, and Mail. This toolbar introduces options like File, Edit, View, and Window Menu, categories that have been a staple on macOS for decades. But this isn't a half-baked adaptation. The menu bar in iPadOS 26 is context-aware, dynamic, and touch-optimized. Depending on the app in use, it surfaces relevant functions without overwhelming the screen. Keyboard shortcuts and touch input work in harmony here, creating an environment where tapping, typing, and swiping all feel natural. This integration is no gimmick. It's a vital piece of Apple's strategy to unify its ecosystem while still respecting the unique strengths of each device category. Multitasking unleashed. Real freeform window management. iPadOS 26 marks a seismic shift in how multitasking works. Gone are the restrictive paradigms of split view and slide over. In their place is a fully modular, freeform multitasking experience reminiscent of macOS. Users can now open multiple app windows, resize them freely, stack them, or arrange them in any layout they prefer. Stage Manager, previously an experimental feature, has matured into a robust multitasking powerhouse. It supports overlapping windows, custom workspace configurations, and fast app switching, transforming the iPad into a genuine productivity hub. If you've ever tried working with multiple documents, media projects, or apps at once on an iPad, this feature alone justifies the upgrade. True extended display support, not just mirroring external monitor functionality, has long been a sore spot for iPad users. Previous versions of iPadOS were only capable of screen mirroring, a solution that felt like an afterthought. That changes with iPadOS 26 now. Users can treat an external display as an independent workspace, dragging apps between screens and running completely different tasks on each. This update brings the iPad experience one step closer to replacing a dual-screen desktop workstation. You can launch an editing suite on the iPad, a reference browser on the monitor, and use Apple Pencil to annotate across both L and real time. It's an enormous leap forward for creatives and multitaskers alike. Apple Pencil Pro enhancements, a tactile revelation. If the Apple Pencil was already a favorite among artists and note-takers, iPadOS 26 elevates it to a new standard. Thanks to hardware and software improvements, the new Apple Pencil Pro now offers haptic feedback, advanced tilt detection, and pressure depth sensing. The result? Using the pencil feels more like drawing on textured paper than ever before, especially when paired with nano-texture displays and matte screen protectors with reduced latency, improved palm rejection, and system-wide support. The Apple Pencil is no longer an accessory, it's a primary input device for creatives, engineers, and students. File management gets serious. The new Files app, Apple's Files app, has often lagged behind Finder on macOS, but iPadOS 26 brings it much closer in line. Advanced sorting tools, list view enhancements, batch processing with Command+Click, and a new right-click menu make file manipulation intuitive and powerful. Users can now assign default apps to specific file types, so PDFs, for example, can automatically open in preview instead of files. Folder compression, tagging, and quick sharing are now just a few taps away. Finally, file management on iPad feels like it was designed for people who do actual work. Powerful. New utilities, Preview and Journal. Two significant apps debut with iPadOS 26, Preview and Journal. Preview, long a Mac mainstay, brings document annotation, PDF signing, and image markup to the iPad. Coupled with Apple Pencil Pro, it becomes a fantastic tool for editors, teachers, and professionals. Journal is a personal assistant-style journaling app that uses on-device intelligence to generate writing prompts, suggest images, and organize your thoughts. While it can be used casually, it's powerful enough for mental health tracking, creative idea dumps, or structured daily planning. These apps round out the iPad as not just a productivity machine, but a personal development platform as well, creator-centric. Audio features for the first time, Apple has added PAP microphone input selection. PAP podcasters, streamers, and online educators can now assign specific mics to different apps. Want to use an external condenser mic for GarageBand, but you're built-in mic for Zoom. Done. This long-awaited feature finally gives iPad users the audio routing control they've needed for professional content creation workflows. Background tasks, faster render in iPadOS 26 introduces background rendering and smarter RAM management, reducing crashes and slowdowns even on lower-tier iPads, exporting 4K video in LumaFusion or Final Cut. It now happens in the background, so you can keep editing, browsing, or sketching without interruptions. This responsiveness boosts app productivity across the board. Thermal controls also help keep the device cool during heavy workloads, meaning you can rely on your iPad for long sessions without throttling. Gesture evolution and enhanced window control. The introduction of new swipe gestures offers quicker app switching, better access to Stage Manager, and intuitive controls that mimic Mission Control on macOS. Swipe up with 3 fingers to view all open apps. Swipe sideways to jump between workspaces, and pinch to collapse or expand windows. These gestures are simple, but essential, helping bridge the gap between tablet and desktop metaphors. Compatibility and optimization. While iPadOS 26 shines Brightest on the latest iPad Pro models, Apple has worked hard to optimize performance across the lineup. Even users with mid-range devices will see faster app load times, better RAM allocation, and improved thermal behavior under stress. That said, a few features like full external display support and some Apple Pencil Pro enhancements. Hardware-dependent, is the iPad finally a laptop replacement? That's the question that echoes through every corner of the tech world. And with iPadOS 26, the answer may finally be yes. With true multitasking, a functional menu bar, enhanced file and app management, external display independence, and unmatched pencil input, the iPad is now a serious contender for day-to-day computing. Whether it can replace a MacBook will depend on your workflow. But for the first time, Apple isn't forcing you to compromise. Final thoughts. A turning point for the iPadOS 26 isn't just another iteration, it's a paradigm shift. Every design choice, every feature addition, and every performance tweak points toward Apple's long-term vision to make the iPad the center of your digital life. Whether you're editing videos, attending online classes, sketching digital art, or managing a business, W